Yeah.
What's good? It's your boy JayThat'sMe. NXT still continues to be fun and solid. This was the go-home show to this Saturday's NXT Stand and Deliver. And yes, we are going to go over the preview and predictions for that show. So this was a really decent show here. I had fun with it. So we kicked the show off with the first match of the night. It was a fatal four-way. Ethan Page, Wes Lee, Lexis King, and Eddie Thorpe. Ricky Saints was on commentary. And he ended up getting ejected when Ethan Page shoved, I think it was Lexis King into him or whatever. So then the referee ejected Ricky Saints. This was a really fun little match here. Nothing but spots, though. Wes Lee did a sick Whisper in the Wind, which took out all four guys. That was nice there. They ended up doing a four-man submission spot. So Ethan Page, he had locked in the Boston Crab on Lexis King. Eddie Thorpe had in, I think, like an arm bar. And Wesley had in, I want to say, like a knee bar or something like that or whatever. So that was pretty cool there. Towards the end of the match, everyone started hitting their finishers and all that. Lexis King followed up with the coronation. And then Ethan Page, he hit the Twisted Grin for the 1-2-3. So Ethan Page is the new number one contender. To nobody's surprise. It should be to no one's surprise at all. I figured he was going to win anyway. So Ethan Page gets on the mic post-match and says, I guess that makes him the man. He said he's the new number one contender. He says Ricky Saints, he knows he's not the guy that he wanted to win the night. And you have every right to believe that because everyone remembers their first. And the first championship victory in WWE, that was ruined by all ego, Ethan Page. I stand and deliver your first title defense. I promise you that'll be your last. That would be ruined also. So Ricky Saints shows up from behind and spears Ethan Page. So really good stuff there. I'm excited for Ethan Page and Ricky Saints. So that should be interesting. I think Ethan Page is main roster bound. Moving on. So we get a Jordynne Grace promo. She talked about how she wasn't scouted. She never had any star power. She never was much of a beauty queen. She said that she had negative aura. Then she did a whole bunch of training and powerlifting and everything else. She talked about her time in TNA and how she became laser focused on getting her body into phenomenal shape. And she said that she's going to walk away on Saturday by getting the opportunity to become the new NXT Women's Champion. She said, and just like I've been my entire career, I'm aware of exactly what I have to do to leave Vegas with her first WWE Championship. Really good promo. I liked it. Really good stuff there. I like Jordynne Grace. She's decent. I think she's main roster bound. She's not going to win on Saturday, but, this is a pretty good little promo. Just a pretty good little promo. And we got some TNA footage and stuff there. Moving on. So Lola Vice, she defeated Tatum Paxley to qualify for the NXT Women's North American ladder match. So she's in, which makes sense. Tatum Paxley ended up having to work as the heel, basically. She has a really unorthodox moveset for whatever fucking reason, but it is what it is. I like Tatum Paxley. The match was pretty decent. So, good stuff there. Moving on. So, at Stand and Deliver, there's going to be a triple threat pitting Fatal Influence against Metaphor, plus against Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan, Chemical X. The winners of that match will get a shot at the Women's Tag Team Championships on the following Tuesday, following Stand and Deliver. So Roxanne Perez begins to bitch and moan about how she's the reason that the NXT Women's Division is so strong, and yet she doesn't have a match at Stand and Deliver. Ava says that if Roxanne can charm her way into finding a tag team partner, she'll have no problem making that match a fatal four-way. Okay. That's cool there. It seems like Roxanne Perez is basically on her way out of NXT. It seems like it's time. Triple H is putting her in different spots, in the Rumble, the Chamber. So he's just testing the waters with Roxanne Perez. So, yeah. Moving on. So Julia, she had a backstage promo / vignette. She says, for the past few weeks, she watched Stephanie bask in the glory of being a double champion. She waited and waited for her opportunity to get a rematch, but it never happened. Friendships only go so far when it comes to the NXT Women's Championship. Last week, she reminded Stephanie of what beautiful madness is. Jada Parker, she doesn't know her, but I can tell she's very confident. She likes to dish out punishment, but she doesn't like to take it. Jordan Grace is very strong, but on Saturday, she'll introduce her to strong style. Jordan and Jada are just both obstacles in her way to deal with Stephanie. Her goal was to win the NXT Women's Championship. Losing only made her more dangerous. At Stand and Deliver, no friends. Rematch. Last year at Stand and Deliver, she introduced herself. This year, she leads as the NXT Women's Champion. Okay, I like it. Really good promo. It seems like they're going to turn her heel, and that should be interesting. I don't think that Julia will be in NXT too much longer. I think she'll be out of NXT, I would say, either by May or June. That's what it seems like they're going to end up doing, in my opinion. Moving on, this leads us into Hank and Tank winning the gauntlet match. So they are now the new number one contenders. They defeated No Quarter Catch Crew, The Calling, Briggs and Inamura, and Tyreek and Tyson. So that's fine there. Who really cares? I'm not a fan of Hank and Tank. They're not fucking good. They're just not. They overdo it a little bit too much, but it is what it is. I don't expect them to win on Saturday. I just don't. I mean, if they do, it is what it is. So, there's that. I wish the No Quarter Catch Crew would have won, but, it is what it is. You win some, you lose some. Moving on. So, Stevie Turner from Evolve, she's giving Callie Armstrong from Evolve some encouragement. I've had her big fatal 4-way on Evolve tomorrow, so that's cool. That's cool to see her there. Moving on. So, Tony D has yet to arrive for this parking lot brawl with Darkstate. So, Stacks, the underboss, is now calling the shots. Luca Cristofano says that he's never backed down from a fight. Stacks tells Adriana Rizzo to get out of here. So, there's a massive brawl that ensues. The family, they attack Darkstate with crowbar. All hell breaks loose in the backstage area. The family, they chokeslam James Cutler through a table. The family spears Osiris Griffin through a wall, which was great. That was fucking awesome. Then Darkstate is able to get some advantage and everything else. Sugars brings in a fire extinguisher. The brawl continues on, and then Tony D shows up with a crowbar, and he beats the shit out of Darkstate, and then they scatter like dogs. So the cops show up, which was great. That was some really good shit there. So Tony D is pissed that Stacks didn't listen to him. He was handling business. The Don says that the family's going to fight Darkstate at Stand and Deliver. The Don says that Stacks better not underestimate him again. The Don gives Stacks a hug. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. I like it. Really good stuff. I'm glad that this is going to take place at Stand and Deliver. Makes perfect sense. Good shit. This was beautifully done and well shot. This was great. I absolutely love this. Excellent stuff. Moving on, Jada Parker, she cut a promo backstage. She talked about how her life was growing up and how she played soccer and how she grew up hard and heavy. She cried on the streets and everything. She made a damn name for herself. She says that she's the only homegrown talent in the match. She says that her dad was her coach. He never let her play football while she was growing up. So she then found her love in soccer and everything else. So she ended up revealing that her best friend was actually her uncle. He was her main support system, and then apparently he passed away. When she lost him, she really began to learn early on that she couldn't trust anybody, because if I could lose my best friend, who else could she trust? And then she says that people assume that she has an attitude. No, she's just the way she is, because that's what happens when you don't fit other people's agendas. I'm like, damn. That's what happens when you lose the purpose of all this. Life made her hard. She don't need no damn friends and no damn locker room. All she needs is big game situation for moments that make or break you. Nobody's going to be able to break her. Come Saturday in Las Vegas, she's going to show the entire world that Jada Parker don't play. And she's going to be taking that NXT Women's Championship. Great promo. I fucking loved it. This was great. I absolutely love this. Jada broke down only for a brief moment from talking about her uncle. That's understandable, but man, she got right back on track. This was great. I love this. Jada Parker's going to be a fucking star in NXT. She's going to be a star. I think next year is going to be her year. I really do see her being NXT champion in 2026. I really do. As of right now, like I say, the NXT Women's Division right now is 2 stacked. I do feel like that there are going to be some call-ups that's going to happen. But I'll talk more about that when we do the predictions. Stephanie Vaquer, she had her backstage promo of her own. She talked about how she's the La Primera. She went back home to her home country in Chile and everything else, and how she was on this, I guess, talk show in Chile. And, you know, she was just saying how she's going to end up retaining, and how she's happy that she made her family proud and everything else, and they have her support. She supports her Chilean people. At Stand and Deliver, she promises to continue to represent everyone with pride and always keeping Chile's name high. Okay, that's fine there. Really good shit there. I'm fine with that. Moving on. Kelly Kinane had a backstage interview with Hank and Tank. They received advice recently from legendary tag teams. The tag teams from the main roster, both Raw and SmackDown, they didn't have to change anything. They just had to be themselves and leave everything in the ring. So Fraxium, they show up. They're looking forward to the challenge. Nathan Frazier says that it's a shame that Hank and Tank ran this gauntlet all for nothing. Hank and Tank agrees to disagree with Nathan Frazier and tells Fraxium that they'll see them at Stand and Deliver. And then Nathan Frazier refuses to shake their hands. Okay. This makes sense. It seems like they are going to probably turn Nathan Frazier heel. They've been teasing it. They've been teasing Fraxium breaking up for a minute now. It's almost like A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory, and Grayson Waller. That's kind of how this shit is to me now. But it's fine. It's fine, I guess. Moving on. Roxanne Perez, she's still complaining in Ava's office. Roxanne said that she's going to be her own tag team partner. Ava asked Roxanne how bad does she really want to compete at Stand and Deliver. So Cora Jade walks into the office. She shows up. Cora asks Roxanne if she's willing to apologize. Okay. Good shit there. All right, moving on. Andre Chase doesn't want to ruin Uriah Connors and Kel Dixon. So Thea Hale, she shows up. She's been gone for months. She makes her big return. Thea Hale gives Mr. Chase her blessing. And she's planning on qualifying for the Women's North American Championship ladder match, which she does. So Thea Hale defeats Carmen Petrovich. So she qualifies. She wins via the Kimura lock. Great stuff there. And I think she had Eddie Edwards' theme music, I think, from TNA from, like, years ago. Like, what the hell was that? But, you know, it makes sense. I'm glad to see that Thea Hale's back. Great stuff. So, good shit. Main event of the evening, it was just a promo battle between Femi, Trick Williams, and Jevon Evans. Nobody really said anything. Trick just said that that you either die the hero or live long enough to become the villain. He said that Trick Willie is still alive. He said that he's coming after Oba. Oba then says that he's done with Trick. He doesn't care about Trick. He said at Stand and Deliver, it's going to be your last time in a spotlight. When he's done with him, he's going to be moving on as well. So Jevon Evans comes out, got a pretty good little promo. He talks with a ton of slang. He does, but I guess because he's young, and I know how that is. I do, especially if you work with like a lot of young cats and stuff. You kind of know like that's how they talk, especially like in the South for whatever reason. But I mean, it's fine. But Jevon said he had fun dropping Oba, and he didn't drop a regular wrestler. He dropped the NXT champion. He said Oba Femi is going to main event WrestleMania in a couple of years. It's not if, Oba. It's when you get drafted. And so they continue to, jaw jack back and forth. Then Jevon said he's going to run circles around both of them at Stand and Deliver. So Trick and Oba, they throw Jevon Evans over the top rope. The two of them, they brawl for a brief moment, and then Jevon hits a double springboard cutter, and then he pauses with the NXT Championship, and that was the end of the show. This is a little bit too early to be doing this, but it's fine. Again, I don't think Jevon's going to be champion for a while. I see him probably being North American champion once he's done with feuding with Oba and Trick. Maybe they do a match between Trick and Jevon. The winner of that becomes the new number one contender after Stand and Deliver. And then once Jevon loses that, then maybe you can feud Jevon and Ricky Starks together. That's what I would do, and keep him in that mid-card. But I am excited for this. So, NXT was pretty good for the most part. I love the brawl between Darkstate and the D'Angelo family. That was pretty cool. So, good stuff there. And then the promos by all four women for the NXT Women's Championship, that was great. So, pretty good stuff. And the matches were okay, too. So, yeah. All right, let's get into the Stand and Deliver predictions. There are 7 matches on the card. It's going to be 1 pre-show match, which is kind of weird. This should have actually made the main card, but it is what it is. So, that pre-show match is going to be the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match. It's actually going to be an elimination match for whatever reason, which is cool. So it's Metaphor, Last Legend, and Jakar Jackson versus Fatal Influence, Fallon Henley, JC Jane versus Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan, Chemical X versus Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. The winner of this will face Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez on next Tuesday. Who wins this? Probably Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. And then eventually Roxanne Perez should get caught up. So, yeah. But this is crazy that this is on the pre-show. It's kind of weird to me that this is going to be on the pre-show. It's odd. But that just means that Roxanne is damn sure on her way out the door. Not too much longer. I mean, she's ready for the main roster. It's just Triple H is trying to figure out where is he going to put her at. And I mean, I know if you bring up Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade as a tag team, that won't be good because Cora Jade just needs some work. All right. Roxanne Perez is ready from an in-ring perspective. She's ready. But from a character and promo perspective, she could stay in NXT for another 4 to 6 months. That's what I would do. But, it is what it is. All right, moving on. The ladder match for the vacated NXT Women's North American Championship. Kalani Jordan versus Soruka versus Izzy Dame versus Lola Vice versus Zarya versus Thea Hale. This is a tough one for me. I'm caught in between Lola Vice and Thea Hale. But I think they're going to end up giving it to probably Lola Vice. Main reason is she's not done anything in a while, but they still were going to continue her story of making her a champion. So this makes sense. I got a feeling they're probably going to end up breaking up Zarya and Soruka. Izzy Dame and Klein Jordan are just there just to be there, and Thea Hale is just making her return back. She's been gone for way too long. She's been gone for well over six months. So I think it's best to say they're probably going to put the title on Lola Vice. It makes sense. And then, like I said, whenever you want to cycle back to Thea Hale or Soruka, you always can do that. Moving on, Nathan Frazier and Fraxium versus Hank and Tank for the NXT Tag Team Championships. I got a feeling they're probably going to end up fucking doing Hank and Tank, which I'm not down for at all. But if they do, then I could see Hank and Tank winning, and then maybe you call up Nathan Frazier and Axiom, and then maybe you bring down either like DIY or the Motor City Machine Guns are Pretty Deadly, or even like the War Raiders that aren't doing anything on the main roster. That's what I would do. But at this point, I don't fucking know. But I got a feeling that Shawn Michaels and Triple H might end up switching the tag titles. Because if they end up winning, that being Fraxium, where did they go from here? They've beaten the NXT tag division to death. Like, where the fuck do you go? Moving on. Ricky Saints versus Ethan Page for the NXT North American Championship. Ricky Saints is clearly going to retain. Ethan Page has a busy week. He's going to be doing Stand and Deliver this week coming up, and then next week he's going to be doing Rebellion. So he's going to be having a pretty busy 7 days. So that's pretty cool. That's interesting there. So, Ricky Sanchez is obviously going to retain. I would imagine after Ethan Page probably loses at Stand and Deliver and Rebellion, I'd imagine after he's done those jobs there, he's probably going to end up getting called up to the main roster. He's ready. You could easily slot him in the mid-card on Raw or SmackDown, and he'd fit in perfectly like a fucking glove. Moving on, the Angela family. So Stax, Tony D, and Lucia Cristofano versus Darkstate, which is going to be Dion Lennox, James Cutler. Cutler James, Saquon Sugars, and Osiris Griffin. So we don't know which three members of Darkstate it's going to be. I imagine Darkstate's going to win. They're probably going to end up doing a massive angle here, which makes sense. I feel like Stax is probably going to end up screwing Tony D over, pause. Then he could possibly reveal that he's like the mastermind behind Darkstate. You never know. You never really can tell with this shit. So, yeah. So, hopefully that does happen. Main event of the evening, triple threats for the NXT Championship. Femi, Trick Williams, and Jevon Evans. Femi, to me, is clearly going to retain. He's not going to go up to the main roster at all. He's ready, but he needs to be in NXT just a little bit longer. I would actually bring down some people to make that main event scene a little bit better. So maybe like guys like Karrion Kross, maybe a Shinsuke Nakamura, maybe an LA Knight, maybe an Andrade. There's stuff that you can do. There's people that you can bring down, and make the main event scene in NXT be pretty okay. Maybe there could be some surprises, like debuts that show up. Maybe we end up getting Josh Alexander, maybe. I know for a while he's been rumored to go to AEW, but we've not seen that as of late. So maybe he could show up on Saturday at Stand and Deliver, but we have to wait and see. But Stand and Deliver, I'm actually excited for some of these matches. I'm excited for the triple threat, because I'm a fan of all three guys, Jevon Evans, Trick Williams, and Femi. I am excited for the 6-man tag because it's probably going to end up being a massive angle attached to that. I'm excited for the Fatal 4-Way as well, for the women. And I'm excited for the ladder match. So, Stand and Deliver seems like it's going to be fun. But what did you guys think of NXT? And what are your predictions for Stand and Deliver? Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.